Hello and welcome to Four Tracks Good, the music channel that connects the artist, the listener, and the retailer. And today we are ready to attend a Bandcamp listening party and hopefully trying to connect to the artist. And I'm joined by my co-host Neil. How are you doing, Neil?
I'm very good, very good. I'm looking forward to this, Gary.
Yeah, I'm
This
I'm
sort of
really I'm really
yeah.
looking forward to this too. But first, some of you may not have come across Bandcamp before, so it might be worth a quick overview from me, if that's all right. So it's been around for quite some time. I think 2007, 2008, that sort of time, and it's an online platform, website where if you're an artist or an independent label, you can create a store on it effectively to sell your music or merch. So it's a bit like a direct to consumer platform, really, with no one else in the middle apart from the Bandcamp store. But it also brings together a community of people, if you like, who get the idea of buying direct from artists. They get that. That's a good thing. And I think the artists get a lot more money from this than, say, a streaming platform like Spotify, because people are actually buying stuff directly from the artists. And Bandcamp obviously take a cut in that, but it's not a massive, not a massive percentage. Now, you can listen to the music on Bandcamp before you buy it, which is it's a must-have. Music is one of those things you have to try before you buy, unless you really like the album cover, that is. But you can't listen to the music quite like you can on a streaming platform like Spotify. It's much more basic in that respect, and you can't connect to streaming devices like your Alexa as easily. But you can use Bluetooth, for example. So you could connect your device from your phone to Bluetooth and play that way, but it's a bit more of a faff, to be honest. But personally, I think it's a place for both. There's a place for both a streaming platform and Bandcamp, and also physical purchases, and how you use the three is down to personal preference. Anyway, the Bandcamp platform has some great blogs, articles, various events. There's one called Bandcamp Friday, which some of you may know, which is run on Fridays now and again, where all the money goes to the artist. And they allow artists to host listening parties. And the concept of listening parties came from outside Bandcamp. Some of you may remember that during the COVID pandemic, Tim Burgess of the Charlatans popularized it on Twitter, though I think he started the concept a bit earlier with the Charlatans. So Bandcamp has taken this concept, advanced it a little. The platform allows you to hear the music in real time with everyone else who's signed up for the listening party, like Neil and myself tonight. And you have a means of commenting on the music and asking questions to the artist who is also at the listening party, which I think is amazing. And you also get to hear the albums before they officially are released. Yeah, so it's a great concept, isn't it, Neil?
It is. It is. I mean, lots of people were really intrigued by what Tim Burgess did during COVID, and he was doing multiple. And I've got a couple of the books that emerged from those listening
Yeah,
parties as well. So
yeah,
it's been really nice to see that the concepts evolved in a way that can support artists to sell more of their product as
yeah.
well. And I use Bandcamp principally to buy records from the artist or the merchandise rather than just to listen to it. But sometimes when something's about to be pre-released like this is, it's been a great way just to get access to something which otherwise isn't available. So yeah, this
Yeah.
is going to be fascinating.
We haven't spoken much about the artist yet, who attended today. Her name is Elsa Hewitt, and some of you may recall that she was one of my New Music Friday single recommendations last year. Before that, I didn't know her. I found her on Spotify recommendations, and she ended up in my release radar based on the type of music I listen to, and that gets generated every on a Friday. I then looked her up on Bandcamp to see what a new album was coming out, which is in a couple of days, and then spotted the listening party, and it's just starting. So I think we'll turn our attention to the listening party now, Neil, and we're both listening to it. Well, it sounds a very mellow introductory track. So this is the first track off the album, called Water Lion. Very mellow start, and this isn't one of the this particular track hasn't been released yet.
From what I've heard of the album, this seems to be very emblematic feel of the whole piece,
Yeah,
doesn't it? Combination of some very gentle melodies with day-to-day sounds. Very
yeah,
enough field recordings.
yeah, she's incorporated quite a lot of field records, and I think I can hear some going on in this particular track. Yeah, this is a very mellow, even more mellow than the tracks I've heard so far released as singles. Looks like it's quite a long opening track. I've just noticed it's 11
11
and a half
minutes.
minutes long for a start. So that's quite brave, isn't it? As a first track.
Yeah, and it's prog-like.
Yeah.
So, in your experience of this, Gary, when do people throw the questions in? Is it track by track, or do they wait till the end?
So you can do it throughout the whole thing. You can do it per track or comment on the album as a whole. There's no real protocol. I might ask Elsa actually about the field recordings, because see where they were introduced in the process of writing it. Were they
Mm.
kind of introduced a bit later in the production, or were they based around it?
Yeah, I was interested in asking something also about place. I mean, of all the tracks I've heard, they all seem very evocative of place. And I'm
Mm.
interested to know whether she has somewhere specific in mind.
Where she's recorded the field. Yeah, yeah. I'll
Yeah,
ask
or
her.
even
I'll ask her that.
even when she's writing. So this clear, as someone's put in the comments, it has an Oriental
Yeah, yeah,
feel to
yeah,
it. Um,
yeah.
where does that emanate from? In fact, I might even go for my first question now.
Go for it. Go for it, Neil.
I might be embarrassed in case it's a bad question and I get handed out the.
Nothing to be frightened of, Neil.
I've got
You've frozen at the
got writer's
keyboard.
block.
You're frozen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. This is it, folks. This is Four Tracks Good, interacting with the artist live on air. Good question, Neil. Let's see what Elsa comes back with on that.
Question of the evening.
Yeah.
Remind me again where she's from.
She's from Essex, but I think she lived in London, and then I think she moved up north.
Yes. It's Yorkshire, isn't it? I think.
Yes, that's right, Yorkshire. I also bought her album download the other day, and wait for it, Neil. I bought her a cassette of her album, one of only 25 available, and decorated by her own fair hand.
No way.
But we've got a special episode on cassettes planned, hopefully, so I'll bring it along to that, and won't talk about cassettes anymore for the moment. Still haven't got my head round cassettes. I'm going to hunt out that Walkman before the cassette arrives.
I've got my tape deck in the loft somewhere, and it's a good. It's a T act. It's a good setup.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I might be borrowing it if I can't find mine.
It's huge. It's a kind of real clunky thing. It's not.
Oh, is it? Oh, brilliant.
It's not something sleek, but
Yeah.
can get away with putting bands.
Yeah.
It's tape to tape. I remember I was just so excited to get a tape to tape player.
Yeah,
Tape
yeah.
tapes.
I'm really looking forward to that clunk when you put it in, and
Yeah, yeah.
just that.
It's satisfying.
It's the ultimate nostalgia format, isn't it?
Yeah,
I love the way she's playing around with the loops on these tracks.
yeah.
Yes. Elsa's having a good think about your question, Neil.
Probably thought, why didn't we block him? Thought we had a list of people who were not allowed to come join the list.
She's contacting Bandcamp technical support as we speak, saying, "Get this guy off."
I was listening to some of this earlier today. Was out for a walk, and it does put you in a very good frame of mind. I
Yeah,
mean, It's
Yeah.
not music at all, but it's very relaxing.
So she has answered your question.
He has. He has.
Yeah.
So I think what's really interesting what she says is she gets a picture in her head and tries to replicate this musically. If
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
read that right. And I don't know if I've said this before, but there was once when I observed somebody teach a lesson for a job teaching art, and they tried to do that for their
Mm.
interview lesson, and they wanted students to replicate a track by Fortet in their line
Right.
drawing. I thought it was brilliantly creative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kids didn't have a clue, but I thought this was real sort of high concept stuff. I thought it was
Yeah.
would be wonderful to see it come off. So see what she's got to say about your question. Uh,
Yeah. I'm loving how the music's built around these guitar loops and the kind of the vocal harmonies are lovely, aren't they? So I guess if we're going to put it in a genre, it's probably somewhere between dream pop, experimental electronica, ambience. Yeah, I'm not one for categorizing too much, but
and I think it's dangerous to make references to similar
yeah,
artists. But I think, as you said there about Target Round Guitar Loops, it's reminiscent of later era talk when you read about how they recorded Spirit of Eden and
mm,
Laughing Stock. That was a much more collective effort rather than artist. That's very
yeah,
simple guitar motifs, and then asking the musicians to improvise around it as well.
yeah, yeah. She has quite an extensive back catalogue, doesn't she, for someone so young? I think she's been
Yeah,
writing for about 20 years,
yeah. The
which
thing
is
that struck me is
pretty
just how
impressive.
prolific she is.
Yeah,
Incredibly
she's
prolific.
very impressive. I'm really enjoying this album.
Yeah.
I wonder if there are any particular tracks on the album that were particularly challenging or rewarding for to write. So we've just moved on to track 7, which is Griselda, and that's another one of her singles. I think this is the single I picked on my New Music Friday. Actually,
Yeah.
she just replied to my question. It's actually this particular track she found pretty satisfying.
One of the things that's really interesting around that I love about this is the almost complete absence of drums and the use of a range of different instruments, sometimes non-percussive instruments, to create
Mm,
the percussion, the rhythm behind it.
yeah. Maybe there's a question there, Neil. I'm going to ask her about the sequencing on the album because I think there's a really nice flow between the
Mm.
tracks.
Yeah, good question.
This would have made a cracking album for our Sounds of Nature night at Vinyl Club, wouldn't it, Neil?
Uh,
So many choice field recordings on here.
yeah,
Well, that was great. I loved that album.
yeah,
Although I've heard the 4 singles, the complete album sounds amazing. All back to back. Looking forward to hearing that again on Friday when it's released. I'm looking forward to my cassette.
yeah. That was beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's very delicate. There's a wonder in somebody producing something that is so tender and subtle and indeed delicate.
yeah, yeah. The way she's woven in the quite ethereal vocals to the whole thing as well with the field recordings, and it just all fits together
Mm.
really well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but I got the sense from what I've read in advance because let nobody say we don't do any research. We don't do much, but
Mm.
that she'd improvised quite a lot of it
Mm.
as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and I think that's an exciting part of how you can create music, isn't it, as well? You don't know where you're going to go when you start plucking the string of that guitar, let alone which other instruments you're going to bring in.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I attended the listening session on the other day for the weather station, and there was a lot of improvisation in the making of that album as well.
Mm.
Yeah, it certainly makes for a different sound. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to Friday when it comes out.
Mm.
I'm looking forward to doing these sessions again. It'd be interesting to know what people think of them, whether if we did them as a live stream or slightly different format. It'd be good to hear. And if anybody has any comments on this, it'd be good to hear them as well. But as we say every time, if you haven't subscribed, press the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It means a lot to us. Give us the thumbs up, and we'll see you
Yes,
again.
yes, indeed. Yeah, see you soon. That was great. Lovely evening, Gary. Thanks.
Cheers, Neil.